And in my case, I had a little bit of runway and was able to, quit my job and go take my side hustle and make it my full-time gig. But it wasn't not a struggle. It was a struggle.
I don't mean to interrupt you, man, but I think you need to unpack that, the runway. What is the runway? What do you mean by that? And explain that more, because that's so important. And I think it's something that so many people have the desire, man, I want to start my own thing. I want to leave this full-time 9 to 5. I want to break out of the matrix, well, and the runway that you described is exactly what I did. And it's exactly how I ended up where I am today. And so explain it a little more.
So a runway is literally, it's a metaphor. Yeah. An airplane requires enough speed to take off.
Enough space.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The runway, if your runway is too short for your aircraft, you will not get off the ground. You don't have enough time to gain the speed that you need to get off the ground. And so in the same way, your business, if you're starting a business, you need to have enough runway. For me, it was, I need to have enough money in the bank, jobs booked to ensure that when I go out on my own, I can not be profitable for a couple months in order to get this going. So I had to have a runway that was longer than I needed to take off.
That's my story too. Saved up about 3 months worth of expenses and had a couple small retainers, very small, like maybe $500, $200, and I was able to just piece together a couple different retainers, enough to pay rent, to pay whatever it was, the mortgage. And another thing that we did was we took all of our expenses to almost next to nothing. We cut out everything. This is not everyone's story, because different money is different for, right? It's relative, the amounts of money, but we were really good. We our first jobs, both my wife and I, were in ministry, so we're good about.
You weren't making any money.
We weren't making any money, right?
Yeah.
We were good at operating with very little money, and so we cut out everything. We cut out Netflix. We cut out spending. We cut out date nights. We cut out everything other than groceries and the main bills, and that allowed me to launch. Yeah. And sometimes you have to do that. You have to be able to just cut everything out and say, is this something I really want to do? And am I willing to sacrifice some of these small ticket items to get this plane and lift off? Yeah.
And to take that metaphor another step, we built businesses with a runway. The VC model, I've heard it described as, it's essentially jumping off a cliff and building an airplane on the way down. You have an idea for a company. I listen to some podcasts and am fascinated with kind of Silicon Valley culture in general, because it's where innovation is happening at scale. Yeah. So I really, and honestly, it's a big driver of our economy is technology in the United States. And the good old military.
Yeah, it's true.
but Silicon Valley has done a lot to add value to the economy. But this idea of hey, I have this idea for an app or for some sort of disruptive product, but it's just an idea. Invest in me as a founder, and I'm going to build a company out of it. So they get a bunch of money, and it's essentially like, all right, now we're jumping off the cliff into this business idea, and we have to build a company on the way down before we hit the ground and run out of money. Right. It's a similar concept, and honestly, I think the stakes are the same. If your airplane is on a runway and you realize the runway is too short, you can slow down. Yeah. And you can go, never mind, like this. You don't have to go off the end of the runway. Yep. But once you jump off the cliff, in kind of that VC funded thing, if you don't build the appropriate aircraft by the time you get to the bottom,
you better have a parachute. You better have a parachute on. Right. You better have an emergency fund.
Right. I mean, the metaphor actually works too. A lot of these companies end up getting bought out by bigger companies and stuff. Another airplane comes along and swoops them out of the air. A vulture. So we need, you guys have better rudder technology than us. Jump in. If you enjoyed this Brand Nerd podcast clip, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. In the meantime, here are additional videos you might find illuminating.